Throughout human history, the serpent has been one of the most powerful and enigmatic symbols. It has appeared across cultures, from the Ouroboros in ancient Egypt to the Kundalini serpent in Indian spiritual traditions, and from the biblical serpent in the Garden of Eden to the serpent gods worshipped by indigenous cultures. Across all these myths and legends, the serpent carries the weight of profound spiritual symbolism representing transformation, wisdom, healing, and the connection between the earthly and divine. The serpent's form, its winding, spiraling shape, has often been linked to cyclical nature, life cycles, and regeneration. The idea that the serpent sheds its skin, metaphorically dying and being reborn, speaks to the very essence of existence, death and rebirth, beginning and ending, constantly in motion. These symbols are not merely stories, but reflections of deeper truths about life, the cosmos, and the divine order. But what if these ancient representations of the serpent hold a deeper, universal meaning? What if the serpent is not just a spiritual metaphor, but actually a representation of the cosmic laws governing all of creation? More specifically, what if the serpent's image reflects the very structure of life itself, the DNA that is the fundamental code of existence? This exploration invites us to see the serpent as more than just a symbol. It can be viewed as a universal key, a cosmic connector between our biological existence and our spiritual awareness. As we journey through understanding the symbolism of the cosmic serpent, we will discover its profound connection to DNA, spiritual awakening, and the universe. At the core of this profound understanding lies a concept that has been largely ignored or overlooked by modern science: the idea that the structure of life itself, our DNAs, intricately connected to cosmic forces and spiritual energies. The DNA helix mirrors the serpent spiral, and within this spiral, we may find not only the key to our biological existence, but also the key to unlocking a deeper connection to the universe. This exploration is more than a spiritual journey. It is a revelation about who we are, where we come from, and our role within the cosmic order. Understanding the cosmic serpent is not simply about decoding ancient symbols or spiritual practices. It is about unlocking the hidden power within ourselves, buried in our DNA, and reconnecting with the cosmic rhythms that bind all of existence. When we observe the structure of DNA, the blueprint of all living organisms, something striking becomes apparent. It is a spiral. The double helix, with its intertwined strands, spirals upwards like a cosmic coil, resembling the image of the serpent that is coiled or winding through time and space. This shape, with its continuous movement, mirrors the serpentine energy of life, reflecting the perpetual flow of creation itself. The DNA helix, which encodes the genetic instructions for the development, functioning, and reproduction of organisms, is no accident in its form. The spiraling structure is more than just a biological feature. It is a reflection of the cosmic order. This connection is not just symbolistic, it is intrinsic to the way that life manifests in the universe. The serpent, throughout history, has been seen as a powerful symbol of life, transformation, and energy flow. The spiral shape, a feature of the serpent's body and the universal symbol of the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail, represents the endless cycle of life, the interconnectedness of all things, and the infinite nature of existence. This same spiral pattern is inherent in the structure of DNA, where the double helix twists around a central axis, creating a continuous loop that is vital for biological life. The ancient Ouroboros, symbolizing a serpent consuming its own tail, is a profound metaphor for the cyclical nature of life, death, and rebirth. This image of the serpent's cycle is mirrored in the biological processes within living organisms, where cells divide and regenerate, and where DNA carries the legacy of life's continuity from one generation to the next. Just like the Ouroboros, life is a process of constant transformation, with no true beginning or end, but a continuous flow of energy and matter. Through DNA, this cyclical regeneration occurs on a microscopic level. It is not just the form of the serpent that mirrors the structure of life. It is the energetic connection. DNA, as a blueprint for life, carries within it a vibrational frequency that guides the growth and evolution of all living organisms. This vibrational nature of DNA aligns with the energy flow symbolized by the serpent. Just as the serpent is seen as an energy conduit in spiritual traditions, DNA itself can be viewed as the energy conduit of life, carrying the blueprint of creation and serving as the medium through which cosmic energy flows into the material world. The spiral nature of DNA also reflects the way that energy flows throughout the universe. In physics, we understand that everything matter, energy, light vibrates at a certain frequency. DNA, in its spiral form, operates similarly, carrying encoded information and energy through its structure, allowing the vibration of life to occur. This resonance, this cosmic frequency, is what gives DNA its power to create and sustain life in the material world. This concept is not just about biological life. It stretches beyond the individual organism and into the larger cosmos. The universe itself operates in cycles. Matter is created, transformed, and reformed in a never-ending process of regeneration. This cosmic regeneration is symbolized by the serpent in many ancient myths and is reflected in the spiral structure of DNA. Everything is connected, from the smallest cell in the human body to the largest galaxy in the universe. Through the study of DNA, we see that life is not static. It is a dynamic process, constantly evolving, adapting, and regenerating. The serpent, in its symbolic and energetic form, represents this flow, this continuous cycle of creation, destruction, and rebirth, all rooted in the cosmic energy that sustains the universe. In the study of ancient spiritual traditions, particularly those from India, Kundalini is one of the most profound and transformative energies associated with the concept of the serpent. In Hinduism, Kundalini is described as a dormant spiritual energy, represented by a serpent coiled at the base of the spine, waiting to be awakened. This energy is said to reside in all humans, and its awakening leads to spiritual enlightenment, profound inner awakening, and the realization of one's true self. The Kundalini serpent is often depicted as coiled 3 times, resting at the base of the spinal column near the Muladhara chakra, the root chakra. This representation is symbolic, signifying the untapped potential that resides within each individual. The serpent's form, a spiral, is reflective of the spiritual energy that can move up through the body, activating various energy centers, chakras, along the way. Just like the physical structure of DNA, which spirals upward in a double helix, the Kundalini energy follows a similar path of ascent. The Kundalini energy is believed to move up the spine through the 7 chakras, reaching the crown chakra at the top of the head. As the energy ascends, it activates these spiritual centers, awakening deeper states of consciousness and ultimately leading to spiritual enlightenment or self-realization. The rising of the Kundalini serpent is often described as a spiritual awakening, a process of transformation that brings the individual closer to divinity and the universal consciousness. It is an initiation into a higher plane of existence, where one perceives the interconnectedness of all things and experiences unity with the cosmos. The serpent's spiritual power is often likened to the energy flow within the body. This energy is said to be latent or unconscious, until it is awakened through meditation, breathing exercises, or other spiritual practices. The moment the Kundalini energy is activated, it begins to spiral upwards, breaking through the chakras energy centers that correspond to different aspects of life and consciousness. The path of the serpent, the journey of awakening. As the Kundalini serpent ascends through the chakras, it represents not just physical energy, but a spiritual journey. Each chakra is associated with different qualities: survival, creativity, personal power, love, communication, intuition, and finally, higher consciousness at the crown chakra. As Kundalini moves through these centers, it begins to open the individual to the higher dimensions of existence and awareness. Muladhara, root chakra. The base of the spine is where the Kundalini serpent begins its journey. The root chakra represents our connection to the earth, stability, and survival. Here, the serpent's awakening is subtle, and the individual's connection to the material world is grounded in survival instincts. Svadhisthana, sacral chakra. As the energy moves upward, the serpent enters the sacral chakra, associated with creativity, sexuality, and emotional balance. This stage of awakening is often connected with creative potential and emotional release, allowing the individual to heal old wounds and tap into their creative energy. Manipura, solar plexus chakra. Moving higher, the serpent reaches the solar plexus, the center of personal power and self-confidence. As the Kundalini ascends to this chakra, the individual experiences a surge in self-esteem and empowerment, feeling a greater sense of control over their own life and destiny. Anahata, heart chakra. The heart chakra is the seat of love, compassion, and connection. When the Kundalini serpent reaches this chakra, it facilitates a deep spiritual awakening, centered around unconditional love for others and the self. This stage is associated with the opening of the heart to universal compassion. Vishuddha, throat chakra. As the serpent continues upward, it reaches the throat chakra, associated with communication and truth. At this stage, the individual begins to speak their truth openly and with clarity, feeling a strong sense of purpose in their communication with the world. Ajna, third eye chakra. The third eye, or ajna, represents intuition, insight, and higher knowledge. When the Kundalini serpent reaches this chakra, the individual begins to experience a deepening of spiritual awareness, opening to the world of intuition and psychic awareness. This chakra connects one to higher consciousness and the divine realm. Sahasrara, crown chakra. Finally, the serpent reaches the crown chakra, the pinnacle of spiritual awakening. At this stage, the individual is said to experience enlightenment, a profound connection with the universal consciousness, and a deep sense of unity with all of existence. The serpent's full awakening signifies a return to the source, where the individual becomes one with the divine. The idea of the serpent as a bridge between realms is one of the most profound aspects of its symbolism. Across ancient cultures, the serpent has been seen not just as a physical being, but as a spiritual conduit, a symbol that connects the material and spiritual worlds. From the ancient cultures of Egypt, Greece, and India, the serpent has always symbolized the crossing of boundaries between life and death, between physical reality and higher consciousness, and between the human soul and the divine. In understanding the serpent as a cosmic connector, we begin to see it as a bridge between two polarities: the microcosm, individual consciousness, and the macrocosm, the universe. This connection is mirrored in the very structure of DNA and the spiritual energy of the serpent. The spiral of the serpent corresponds to the vibrational frequencies that permeate all of existence, from the smallest particles in the quantum realm to the largest structures in the cosmos. The DNA helix, like the serpent, is not just a biological feature, is a spiritual channel, a link between the earthly realm and the divine. The serpent's path, from the earth to the heavens. The image of the serpent rising through the chakras is not just a physical phenomenon, it is a spiritual journey. As Kundalini energy ascends through the energy centers of the body, it represents a journey through realms, moving from the earthly plane, associated with the root chakra, to the higher planes of consciousness, represented by the crown chakra. The energy moves upward, crossing boundaries, just as the serpent travels from the physical to the spiritual, from the material world to the cosmic realms. This upward journey represents spiritual ascent, the act of moving from a state of separation, confusion, and disconnection to a state of unity, clarity, and divine understanding. It reflects the universal spiritual path that every soul is on, whether consciously or unconsciously, represents the potential for transformation and transcendence. This journey is the ascent to enlightenment, symbolized by the serpent as it sheds its old skin, shedding the ego and worldly attachments to merge with the higher self. The cosmic serpent and the microcosm. One of the most fascinating aspects of the cosmic serpent is the connection between the microcosm, the individual, and the macrocosm, the universe. Just as the serpent winds its way through the chakras, representing the inner spiritual journey of the individual, it also symbolizes how individuals are microcosms of the greater universe. The same energetic patterns that exist within the human body are mirrored in the greater cosmos. Our DNA, the basic blueprint of life, connects us to the universe, and the serpent spiral is a symbol of this intrinsic unity. This idea is not just a spiritual metaphor. It aligns with modern physics and quantum mechanics, where the idea of interconnectedness and energy fields that link all things is central. In quantum theory, the concept of non-locality suggests that everything in the universe is connected, not by visible, tangible means, but by an unseen, energetic field. This is akin to the energy flow symbolized by the cosmic serpent, where the energy that flows through our bodies is also the same energy that flows through the universe. Everything is interconnected, from the atoms within us to the stars in the sky. The serpent as a guide to higher realms. Throughout history, the serpent has been seen as a guide to higher knowledge and consciousness. In many ancient traditions, it is the serpent that leads the seeker toward enlightenment, toward spiritual wisdom, and toward the knowledge of the divine. In Greek mythology, for example, the serpent was associated with the god Asclepius, who was the god of healing. The serpent-entwined staff became a symbol of healing, representing not only physical health, but spiritual and mental healing as well. In many cultures, the serpent is also connected with divine wisdom and the ability to see beyond the physical world. This connection to higher realms is a theme that appears across traditions. For example, in Mesoamerican cultures, the serpent god Quetzalcoatl was a creator god, symbolizing knowledge, enlightenment, and the pathway to the divine. The serpent, as a spiritual guide, is the entity that helps individuals cross the threshold from ordinary, earthly life to a deeper, more profound connection with the divine. The serpent represents the path of awakening, moving us beyond the illusion of separation from the divine and into a space of unity with all things. Just as the Kundalini serpent rises through the body, we rise spiritually, crossing the boundaries between the physical world and the spiritual realms. One of the most fascinating and awe-inspiring aspects of the connection between the cosmic serpent and the universe is the principle of sacred geometry. Sacred geometry is a concept that has been revered by ancient civilizations for millennia. It is the study of patterns, shapes, and forms that repeat throughout nature, the cosmos, and the human body. These sacred patterns are thought to reflect the underlying structure of the universe, embodying the divine order of creation. One of the most striking examples of sacred geometry is the spiral. The spiral is the geometric pattern that recurs throughout the natural world, from the spiral shells of snails to the vast spiral galaxies in the cosmos. This spiral is not just a shape, it holds deep spiritual significance, representing the flow of cosmic energy, life, and creation. The Cosmic Serpent, in its spiraling form, mirrors this principle of sacred geometry. The serpent's spiral is not merely a physical shape, it is a symbol of the energy that flows through all of existence. The DNA helix, the very building block of life, also follows a spiral pattern, further reinforcing the connection between the serpent, sacred geometry, and the structure of life itself. The golden ratio and the spiral of life. One of the most profound relationships between sacred geometry and the cosmic serpent is found in the golden ratio. The golden ratio, often symbolized by the Fibonacci sequence, is a mathematical formula that describes a natural, harmonious ratio that appears throughout the universe. This ratio, approximately 1.618, can be seen in the growth patterns of plants, the arrangement of leaves, the shapes of galaxies, and even in the spiral patterns of shells and DNA. The golden ratio is a manifestation of perfect harmony, balance, and proportion in nature. It is the divine blueprint that shapes life, from the microcosmic atoms, molecules, and DNA, to the macrocosmic galaxies, cosmic structures, and the entire universe. The cosmic serpent embodies this sacred principle, as its spiraling form can be seen as an expression of the golden ratio, mirroring the mathematical perfection that governs life itself. The serpent, in its spiraling motion, follows this divine pattern of growth, reflecting the process of creation and evolution in the universe. Just as the golden spiral unfolds infinitely, so too does the energy of the serpent, moving through the body and the cosmos, perpetually creating, transforming, and regenerating. Sacred geometry in the human body. Sacred geometry is not just a cosmic principle, it also exists within the human body. The spinal column, which is the channel through which the Kundalini serpent rises, is itself a representation of sacred geometry. The spine follows a series of curves and angles that are deeply symbolic, and many ancient traditions believed that the human body was a reflection of the universe. The chakra system aligns perfectly with the principles of sacred geometry, with each chakra being an energetic center that follows a specific geometric pattern. These energy centers correspond to various aspects of life survival, creativity, love, communication, intuition, and divine wisdom, much like how the spiral of the serpent represents the journey through various realms of consciousness. When the Kundalini energy, symbolized by the serpent, rises through the chakras, it follows the sacred geometric patterns of the human body, activating these energy centers in a process of spiritual evolution. The alignment of the spinal column, energy channels, and the serpent's spiral all point to the same cosmic truth: that sacred geometry is the underlying language of the universe and is encoded in both the physical and spiritual bodies, the spiral and the infinite universe. As the serpent spirals, it moves between realms both material and spiritual. This spiral is not just confined to the human body. It extends into the cosmos. Galaxies, for example, follow spiral patterns. The formation of galaxies, stars, and planetary systems follows the same patterns found in DNA, plants, and even the human body. This indicates a universal blueprint, a hidden, divine order that governs everything in existence. The cosmic serpent, in its spiraling movement, mirrors the unfolding of the universe. Cosmic energy moves in spirals, evolving, transforming, and creating. As the Kundalini energy rises in the body, it reflects the cosmic energy moving through the universe, signifying the interconnectedness of all things. This cosmic flow of energy mirrors the infinite spiral, which is the very foundation of sacred geometry, both in the macrocosmic and microcosmic scales. The spiral thus represents infinity, the eternal movement of creation, evolution, and rebirth. The serpent, by embodying the spiral, serves as a metaphor for this endless cycle, moving through the cosmos in the body, carrying the energy of life, death, and rebirth. At the heart of the ancient symbolism of the cosmic serpent lies its role as a transformational force, not only on the physical level, but also within the spiritual realms. Across cultures, the serpent has long been viewed as a symbol of awakening, evolution, and the growth of consciousness. The serpent represents the potential for personal and collective transformation, a force that guides us from ignorance to wisdom, from separation to unity, and from material existence to spiritual enlightenment. The act of the serpent rising, whether it's Kundalini energy ascending through the chakras, or the symbolism of the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail, is a metaphor for the ascent of consciousness. The spiraling path of the serpent reflects the evolutionary journey that each individual and the collective human spirit undergo as they grow from limited awareness to a profound, all-encompassing understanding of the universe and their place within it. The cosmic serpent and the spiritual path. The path of the spiritual seeker is often described as an upward journey ascending from the mundane concerns of the material world to higher states of awareness and consciousness. Just as the serpent rises in the body, as Kundalini energy ascends through the chakras, so too must the individual rise in their spiritual journey. This ascent, much like the movement of the cosmic serpent, is one of progressive transformation. Each level of awakening, each chakra that the serpent passes through, represents a stage in the development of the individual's consciousness. It is only by transforming through these stages, by facing our inner shadow, by embracing personal healing, and by expanding our awareness, that we can move toward a higher state of consciousness. The symbolism of the serpent's rise speaks to a deep, organic process of transformation that cannot be rushed. Each stage of awakening requires patience, discipline, and a willingness to face one's inner fears, desires, and limitations. The serpent, representing the unfolding of wisdom, guides the seeker through the cycle of death and rebirth, helping the individual shed old, outdated ways of thinking and being, allowing them to be reborn into a more enlightened version of themselves. The serpent and the awakening of higher consciousness. In spiritual traditions like Hinduism, the serpent represents the Kundalini, an energy that, when awakened, helps the individual transcend the limitations of the material world and enter into a higher state of spiritual consciousness. Kundalini energy is said to lie dormant at the base of the spine, like a coiled serpent, until it is awakened through spiritual practice. As this energy rises through the chakras, it awakens higher levels of perception, intuition, and spiritual insight. The journey of Kundalini awakening is symbolic of the awakening of higher consciousness. When the serpent rises through the chakras, it not only transforms the individual spiritually, but also expands the capacity for consciousness. The process is not just about gaining more knowledge. It is about experiencing a shift in awareness, a transformation in perception, where the individual can see beyond the physical, material world and understand the interconnectedness of all things in the cosmic order. The serpent, in this sense, represents the evolution of consciousness from the mundane to the divine, from separation to unity, and from the ego-centered self to the universal self-estate, where the individual realizes their true nature as part of the greater cosmic whole. The cosmic serpent in human evolution. On a biological level, the serpent has long been associated with the evolution of humanity. Some theorists suggest that the serpent's role in the evolution of consciousness might even reflect a larger, collective evolutionary process that transcends individual human beings. The ancient image of the serpent, particularly in cultures such as the Maya and Aztec civilizations, represents the unveiling of wisdom, a process of ascension and progression in human civilization. Humanity, as a species, has undergone immense evolutionary changes from early primates to modern humans, with a high capacity for reasoning, abstract thought, and self-awareness. The serpent serves as a reminder that this evolution is not just biological but spiritual. The development of higher consciousness is seen as an essential part of human evolution, a journey that leads to the realization of divinity within. In esoteric teachings, such as those found in theosophy and other mystical traditions, the serpent is believed to symbolize the hidden potential within humanity, pointing to the latent spiritual capabilities that humans possess. The snake's symbolism reflects the higher potential for spiritual evolution, urging humanity to awaken to its full divine potential. The relationship between the cosmic serpent and the physical universe takes an even deeper dimension when we integrate the principles of quantum physics. While the ancient symbol of the serpent has long been associated with spiritual and mystical teachings, modern science, particularly in the realms of quantum mechanics, has begun to reveal that the energy dynamics represented by the serpent are not just metaphysical, but rooted in the very fabric of reality. In quantum physics, the universe is understood as a complex, interconnected web of energy fields and vibrational frequencies. Much like the spiraling movement of the cosmic serpent, quantum particles exist in a dynamic, fluid state, constantly shifting and interacting in a way that transcends the traditional understanding of matter and space. The principles of quantum entanglement, superposition, and non-locality reflect the interconnectedness and fluidity that are symbolized by the serpent's spiraling, transformative energy. Quantum mechanics and the spiral. One of the key insights from quantum mechanics is that everything in the universe is not as fixed as it appears. Instead, at the smallest levels of existence, everything is in a state of constant vibration, with energy patterns shifting, evolving, and interacting in complex ways. This idea mirrors the cosmic serpent, whose spiraling form represents the continuous motion of energy throughout the universe. The spiral in quantum physics can be seen in many of the fundamental processes that occur within the universe. For instance, the spin of particles, whether electrons, quarks, or photons, can be thought of as a kind of spiritual spin, an energetic force that moves through all things in a similar way to the serpent's path. The double helix structure of DNA, which also spirals, demonstrates that the smallest units of life are intimately tied to the cosmic flow of energy and frequency, which quantum physics so powerfully describes. This spiraling motion also brings us to the idea of vibration in quantum mechanics. According to quantum theory, vibration is at the core of all matter. Matter is composed of waves of energy that interact with one another, giving rise to particles, fields, and forces. The cosmic serpent, with its spiraling form, can be seen as a reflection of this vibrational energy, symbolizing the flux of life that moves through both the physical world and the spiritual realms. Quantum entanglement, the serpent's interconnection. Perhaps one of the most striking correlations between quantum physics and the cosmic serpent comes from the theory of quantum entanglement. This principle suggests that particles, no matter how far apart they may be, remain connected in a way that transcends space and time. When two particles are entangled, any change to one particle will immediately affect the other, regardless of the distance between them. This concept challenges our conventional understanding of space and time, revealing that everything in the universe is deeply interconnected. The Cosmic Serpent serves as a symbol of this interconnectedness. Its winding, entangled form represents the bond between all things, from the smallest quantum particles to the largest celestial bodies. In the same way that quantum entanglement suggests that everything is connected, the serpent embodies the idea that all things, all beings, are part of a greater cosmic unity. Just as the serpent's energy flows throughout the body, so too does the energy of the universe flow through everything, linking all things in a vast web of energy and consciousness. The uncertainty principle and the serpent's wisdom. Another key aspect of quantum physics is the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, which states that it is impossible to know both the position and velocity of a particle with complete certainty. The more accurately we measure one of these properties, the less we can know about the other. This principle speaks to the inherent uncertainty of the universe and the limits of human knowledge. The Cosmic Serpent, in its spiritual symbolism, also reflects this concept of uncertainty. The serpent's spiraling form can be seen as a representation of the unknown, a mysterious force that transcends our ability to fully understand or control. Just as we cannot fully measure the precise path of a quantum particle, we cannot entirely grasp the mystery of the serpent's energy. The serpent embodies the mystical and unknowable aspects of existence forces that move through life, yet remain beyond our complete comprehension. The Cosmic Serpent is not just a symbol of transformation within the individual, it also represents the creative forces that shape the universe. Throughout ancient mythologies and spiritual traditions, the serpent has been depicted as a creator, a force of manifestation, and a conduit between the material world and the divine realms. Whether in the creation myths of ancient cultures or the modern understanding of cosmic energy, the serpent's presence is foundational to understanding the origins of the universe and the continuous process of creation. In many creation myths, the serpent is described as the first being, a primal force that precedes the material world. Its movement and energy are said to give birth to the universe itself. The spiritual principles embodied by the serpent are not just symbolic, but represent the actual cosmic forces that create and sustain existence. In this section, we will explore how the serpent, as a symbol of creation, reflects the eternal process of the universe unfolding and the continuous cycle of life. Creation myths and the serpent. The serpent appears in creation myths across cultures, often as a cosmic force that shapes the fabric of the universe. One of the most well-known representations is found in Hinduism, where the serpent Ananta, meaning endless, is said to support the world. Ananta is the serpent of infinity, symbolizing the endless cycles of time and creation. It is on this serpent's body that the god Vishnu lies, awaiting the next creation cycle, indicating the serpent's crucial role in the continuous process of cosmic regeneration. In ancient Egyptian mythology, the serpent Uraeus is a symbol of divine power and protection, often shown rising from the crown of pharaohs. The Uraeus represents the link between the divine and the earthly realm, guiding rulers to govern with wisdom, while simultaneously serving as a symbol of creation and fertility. Similarly, in Mesoamerican traditions, the feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl is often depicted as a deity responsible for both creation and transformation. In these myths, Quetzalcoatl's actions symbolize the divine energy that shapes the earth and human beings. The serpent represents renewal and the fertile forces of nature, guiding both the gods and humanity toward a higher state of existence. In Greek mythology, the serpent Ophion was said to have coiled around the primordial chaos, playing a key role in the creation of the world. Here, the serpent serves as a symbol of the primordial forces that predate the material world, demonstrating that creation begins with an undifferentiated chaotic energy that spirals into order. The serpent and the creation of matter. The serpent's role in creation can also be understood through the lens of energy and matter. At the heart of the universe is the flow of energy, the unseen force that moves and shapes all things. The serpent's spiraling motion represents the continuous flow of this energy through the cosmos, giving form to the chaotic, unmanifest energy of the universe. From the Big Bang to the birth of galaxies, stars, and planets, the creation of the universe follows a pattern of vibrational energy, constantly moving and evolving, much like the serpent's spirals. The energy that forms the fabric of the universe is not static, but in constant motion, creating, destroying, and recreating in a never-ending cycle. This dynamic flow of energy is symbolic of the serpent's energy, representing the cosmic dance that governs the unfolding of all things. On a molecular level, the creation of matter itself can be seen as a manifestation of the serpent's spiraling energy. The structure of atoms, molecules, and even DNA follows certain geometric patterns that resemble the spirals found in the serpent's image. This symmetry between the macrocosm, the universe, and the microcosm, the atom, the human body, DNA, demonstrates the interconnectedness of all things, bound together by the same cosmic forces. The serpent as the shaper of time and space. The serpent's role in the creation of the universe also extends to the domain of time. In many traditions, the serpent is seen as a symbol of eternity of time, moving in endless cycles. The Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail, is a clear representation of the cyclic nature of time, where endings and beginnings are eternally intertwined. In modern physics, the concept of time is often viewed as a dimension, one that is connected to the fabric of space and governed by the flow of energy. The serpent, as a symbol of the flow of energy, represents the fundamental connection between time and space. As the serpent spirals, it moves through time and space, symbolizing the constant unfolding of the universe, where time is not linear but circular, perpetually returning to its origin.